Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome to Fair Face Fail Productions. So today we're going to be doing the Fisch Moto, a spark arrestor for the FSE 250E as well as the 300R. They both use the same type of spark arrestors. So one of my biggest complaints and downsides about the GPX Moto bikes is that they do not come with a muffler that has a spark arrestor. They come with I guess a baffle to keep the noise down, but it's not obviously a US Forest Service approved spark arrestor. So for those of us that ride in the forest all the time and just don't want to deal with any complaints or problems with the Forest Service, this is the perfect way to go. Huge shout out to Fisch Moto who sent these over to us and are letting us review and try them out. We're very excited because they have one of the few US Forest Service approved spark arrestor type dealios that work on these bikes. And we're very excited to be supported by them for our rentals. All of our bikes will be supporting these spark arrestors. The only downside that I can see to using this spark arrestor, especially if you don't need one and you like a quieter bike, is that these will probably make the bike a bit louder than what the baffle is. Although I don't think the FSE 250E or 300R is especially loud with the stock muffler as it is, so I don't think it's a big issue. The kit that these use is the Kit 40, and that's the one that will fit these bikes. I believe the two-stroke model, of course, is going to be a different kit. Don't quote me, but I think it's a Kit 24. Not positive, though. And these, of course, are easy to install. It comes with the spark arrestor set screw, Allen key, and Loctite. So they make sure that you get that all the way tightened down. And as you can see there, manufactured in Canada and USDA Forestry Service approved. The other thing that they offer is a plug kit for the back, so you can wash the bike without any sort of water getting down into your exhaust. This is pretty cool. They're made out of billet. I think it looks awesome, so really appreciate that coming along too. All right, there is what the spark arrestor looks like. So pretty simple design. There's 3 set screws in here. We can get this to focus. Maybe. I think so. But you can see it says Fisch, screen type, and approved US Forest Service approved on it with its little stamp number. There are your set screws. The directions are via QR code. All right, and included with this is, of course, your 243 thread locker, Fisch Moto sticker, which all of our bikes will be definitely sporting one of these. And here is their Allen key implement, which is actually pretty awesome. It's got a pretty wide handle on it. I kind of like this. All right, now my first step for my personal self here is removing the baffle out of my GPX Moto. A little plug here. Hopefully you guys can see pretty well. The thing that sucks the most about this for me is that I pretty much drop the screw in there every single time. Ta-da! And didn't drop it in the exhaust for like the 5,000th time that I've done that. Putting this in here initially was very painful for me. We'll just go ahead and pull this out. As we can see, this is nothing more than a baffle. No mesh or screen or anything like that, so not going to satisfy. Although, I will say that our Forest Service, generally when they do check people's spark arrestor, they're just doing the stick test, I call it. They just stick the stick down there to make sure you've got a screen or something in the way. So this would probably pass their little dumb test, but better to be safe than sorry, especially on our rentals. Kind of mount that up in there, see what we got. All right, that'll look pretty nice. Okay, so their directions are literally a 2-minute video that's very clear cut and to the point about how you basically throw some Loctite on there, throw the set screws into this little cage, and screw it in. It really could not be more simple than that. Now it looks like they give you some extra set screws, which is real nice because I feel like if you accidentally drop one of these, it's a goner. God, there's like 10,000 warnings about thread locker. Oh, apparently it's dangerous stuff. Oh, okay. Spooge. Oh, God. Why is this so spoogey? I remember thread locker being spoogey. I don't know how much of this I'll be able to do on camera. But I feel like the logical course of this action here is just to barely screw in. It's probably good enough. It's just to thread it just a little and then throw some thread locker on there. All right, so that's just a little bit in there. In their directions, they say to throw some thread locker on these and screw them in a little bit and make sure that they aren't protruding out on the outside, which we'll make sure here in a second. Okay, and then I'm just gonna throw a little thread locker on these. Doesn't got to be a huge amount, I'm sure. All right, so what they were saying is that you don't want any of the set screws poking out while you're putting this in. I'm just gonna kind of get them started. This tool is pretty fantastic. All right, there she is. There we have it. Looks great. Got the set screws in. Like they said, less than 15 minutes. Very straightforward. The hardest part was taking out my old one. Yeah, this was a very cool product. I think they have something that's very well made and built. Let's go ahead and check out that other that plug and make sure the plug fits. All right, and then there's the plug. So that looks pretty fantastic. And then as you can see, it's pretty well in there. You just give her a tug and she pops right on out. There's a rubber seal gasket around the edge. I've got to say, I'm pretty happy with the fit and finish. This muffler on the GPX bikes isn't completely flat, so being able to do this was nice. All right, went ahead and threw on the spark arrestor on the 250E. She's a little dirty. It's pretty cold today, so I didn't want to break out the washing materials, so we just kind of spot cleaned it up and threw it on there. Holds in real nice. Excited to fire this one up. And then, of course, the 40mm plug. That really is great quality. So there you have it. There's the Fisch Moto spark arrestors. So pretty simple device, very easy to install. Some of my favorite things about installing it is it's 3 set screws. So you just tighten them down. They include an awesome tool to screw the set screws down in case you don't have Allen wrenches that are long enough. I was a huge fan of that. They give you name brand Loctite, which is pretty cool. A lot of companies, I feel like a lot of companies would just expect you to provide your own Loctite. So these kits are $80, so maybe a little bit more on the pricey side, but they're very well made. They're actually US Forest Service approved, and they don't skip on anything. Everything that you need to put this in here and tighten it down, make sure it's Loctited, is all there. So it's pretty cool. Their plug kit for washing the bike to keep any water from getting in is very well made. I'm a huge fan of that. It looks cool. It fits in there very nicely. Nothing about this makes it seem like it's not OEM. And I know I'm one of those people that I like to keep my bikes pretty OEM for the most part. I don't usually do a lot of crazy aftermarket parts. So I like the fact that this slides in there. It matches the silver and stainless look of the mufflers. You just tighten it down and then it's pretty much good to go. Now, my only downside for my little FSC 250E, she's already a cold-blooded bike to begin with, but taking out the baffle, I had tuned the bike to the baffle that was in there, and I think the back pressure was kind of hiding some of my richness that the bike was running. Ran great the other day up Captain Jack's, so I have a feeling that we need to go down a pilot size and a main jet size at the minimum. So she was running a little rough, but sometimes changes in exhaust and other things can mean that you need to readjust your tuning. So the best way that I've found to do the whole entire process is to put all 3 of the screws in, just thread them in a couple of threads, and then just do a simple little drop of thread locker on each of them. So don't use too much, don't squeeze it too hard. You definitely don't need to squeeze it everywhere. It's not the end of the world. I just took a paper towel and wiped up a little excess that I had. And of course, because it has thread locker, just tighten them down hand tight. If you try to really wrench down hard on the little tiny Allen that they give you, you're gonna break it. Like that's a given. They're really relying on that thread locker getting down nice and tight, and keeping that entire spark arrestor in there. Of course, I'm going to keep an eye on these to make sure that these don't fly out while I'm riding. My first guess would be that I installed it in properly, but I don't think that we're going to have a problem. I even took a screwdriver and tried to kind of pry one of these to see how hard it would be, and they're very much in there. If you have a different type of bike, like a 2-stroke or a different type of exhaust or whatever else, Fisch Moto has a wide range of these spark arrestors that fit all kinds of bikes. If you give them a call and tell them what bike you have, or from their directions online, you can take a set of calipers and measure the diameter of your exhaust, and they'll tell you which kit you need. The kits, of course, are based on how many millimeters your exhaust is. So the GPX Moto, I think, is a 41 millimeter opening in the back. So the kit 40 was what was going to fit that. I believe the kit 40 fits up to like 42.5 millimeters or something like that. Might be a little bit more, don't quote me on that. Once again, huge shout out to Fisch Moto for supporting our A&M Moto Toys rental company. So we'll be renting both these bikes out, and they will have US Forest Service approved spark arrestors. And next thing we're going to be putting on here is the Reflex Racing handguard. So stick with us. That'll be probably the next thing that comes up. Catch you all later, guys. Ferret Face out.